And welcome back to Leonard Creek Farm. Alright guys, it's yet another feed video, but something I'm going to do a little bit different. My last video I talked about kind of what our estimated cost was, but with us buying feed today for all of the animals and the hay for today, I can break it down a little bit more with what our monthly costs are on the farm for feed. If you want to just hear the breakdown of our cost, you can go to the timestamp 721 and that'll bring you right to our cost breakdown. We're working in tight quarters today. Let me pull in here. We got our hay load yesterday, and where we don't have a hay barn no longer, we got to pile it all in here. And so it's a little bit tight, and we're having to move around to get to our barrels. Alrighty guys, that 3 bags filled her up. Laying pellets are done. Onto the goat feed. Alright guys, we got 2 bags of the Producer's Pride. The sweet feed mix, I think. Yeah, sweet feed mix. And some Producer's Pride whole corn. We're going to mix the corn in with the feed. I need to add a little more of the sweet pellet in here. Andy tried to knock me in and drown me in goat feed, I believe. I'm going to put a little bit in. I'm not going to show you all the misery of mixing all this up, but I'm going to add a little more feed in, then add corn, then feed, then corn, then feed, then corn until it's all mixed. Alright guys, the goat feed is done. We're about 1 bag less than we usually are. Usually we fill it all the way up top for the month, so we'll probably be a little bit short of what we typically are. But we're going to call it good. Next, so this is the goat feed. This was the layer pellets. Right there is the rabbit feed. So next we got to get back here and fill the rabbit barrel up. Last bag for the rabbits. Alright guys, I've changed my mind about where I'm going to put the rabbit feed. Of course, I got to fill this up. This is what I feed the rabbits out of on a daily basis. And then back here, I have a big barrel that doesn't have much in it. And so I can't get to the little barrel back here to pour it in because the hay's in the way for right now. And so we'll just put it in a big barrel for now. I won't need out of it for a while. And so we're going to fill this up. As you noticed, the food on the goats has changed. I think I've said it in the last couple feed videos we've done. We went to the Producer's Pride brand pretty much to save costs. Those of you that have animals know that the price of feed has went up really, really high. And with The goat's not producing very much this year. They're not paying for themselves, and it's hard to make the financial decision to continue to buy really high quality food with the prices going up on the food, on top of the fact that you didn't make any financial gain from what you're feeding a high quality feed from. And so, although it's a little lower quality feed, they've done all right with it. I haven't, nobody's lost weight, and of course we are adding the extra minerals into the feed. And they're getting all that they got before. They're getting a high quality hay and stuff like that. A lot of people don't even feed goats actual grains or anything like that. Typically they just give them hay and grass, hay and pasture. And so they're maintaining their weight just fine. And so, like I said, we had to switch to a lower cost of feed due to pretty much the fact that what we used to pay for the high quality feed is what we now pay for the lower quality feed. So if you can understand what I'm saying, you know, the higher quality feed that we used to buy is, you know, 2 times higher than what the lower quality feed is. And so we're paying about the same price as what we were for before, but for a lower quality feed. Alrighty guys, so I'm not going to bore you anymore with pouring the feed in and stuff. If you've watched any of our videos for any extended period of time, you've seen this before. And so what we're going to do is talk about the cost today. I'm going to go ahead and get all my feed chores done, and then hopefully we can sit down and discuss what we've spent this month on feed for our animals. Feed as in the bags of feed, and feed as in hay.
All right, let's break down our feed cost here. First, we're going to start with the rabbits. We're going to talk about hay and grain cost here. And so I'm going to break it down for each group of animals that we have. When talking about the rabbits, we're going to start with the hay. They eat about 30-ish flakes a month. That comes down to a flake a day for all 6 rabbits. There's 8 flakes in a bale typically, which means they eat about 4 bales a month, which comes to about $12 a hay, or $12 in hay a month at $3 a piece. That's what we pay for our hay. We're going to move on and talk about our grain here. I figured it up to be about 13 pounds a month is what they eat out of a 50-pound bag. We did the math and we figured a 50-pound bag at $21 brings it to 42 cents a pound for a 50-pound bag. And that averages out to $5.46 for a 30-pound bag. Now, that's a $21 bag. Sometimes I can get it between $16 and $18 depending on where we picked it up. But on this particular day, we paid $21 for that. That brings our cost, adding the hay and the grain together, to $21.46 for the month. So it cost $21.46 for a month. And adding that up for the profit that we've made throughout the year, we're putting quite a bit in our pocket. Next, we're going to move on to the goats here. All right, goats are a lot easier to figure out because they use right at what we buy at the store for a month. We've got it down to a science in the last 5 or 6 years. And so we pay $12.99 for their sweet feed, and we buy 3 bags of that at 50 pounds. We mix in 1 50-pound bag of the whole corn at $9.98 a bag. That makes the price for the grain at $48.96 with the sweet feed and the corn added in, and that's 200 pounds a month for the goats. And so we're averaging about 200 pounds for 6 goats here. Let's move on to our hay cost here. So the goats eat, well, let's start here. Our short bed truck holds about 25 bales. So one load is about 25 bales, and it's at $3 a bale. So we pay $75 for one load. Goats eat about 8 bales a month, which equals out to about $24 a month. So if we're talking about adding the hay and the grain cost together, it costs about $72.89 a month to feed 6 goats. And so that's not too bad. I thought that it would be a lot higher than what it was. And I actually breaking this down has been really eye-opening. And so I can appreciate how much money and time we put into these goats, which obviously we're not breaking down time or our gas prices or anything. This is just right off the top what we pay cash money for the goats. And so it's great to see. And $72.98 a month to me with the grain and the hay combined is not too bad, along with the meat and the grass pasture, which we're not adding that in here, but it come out to a lot less than what I figured it was, so that worked out great. So guys, next we're going to move on to the chickens, and we'll break them down, and you all might be shocked about what our cost is and exactly how much many pounds we go through in a month with about 100 birds on the farm. All right, guys, we've got 3 different feeds that we have to add up here. We have 2 different flocks on our farm. One of them, which is my husband's. The other one is mine. We have about 100 birds altogether, including his flock and my flock. 22 of those are my layers. First, we're going to start with Andy's mix, which is which is what he feeds his birds, which is a 14% protein feed. We buy 10 bags of it at $15.50. We get a deal by buying 10 bags. That comes to 500 pounds at $155 a month for the 14% protein mix. We also buy a layer pellet that he and I both mix in with our feed. We both feed it to our flocks. We buy 3 bags of those at 150 pounds for $48.88. We also buy 2 bags of crushed corn mix that we feed both to my flock and to his babies and my babies. And we buy those 2 bags. They're 50-pound bags at $2.80 or $2.98, and that comes out to $25.99. All the chicken feed combined, it is $242.85 a month, and $750 or 750 pounds a month for our 100 birds. All right, guys, let's talk about what just the cost overall is for the feed. This isn't adding time, water, meds, the losses that you can have within a year, nothing like that. This is not money loss. This is just our feed. So our feed is going to cost us about $336.29 a month. That's $4,035.48 for our yearly cost. That's just our feed cost, guys. It's not cheap. It's not a cheap way of life, farming and homesteading or anything like that. And so that's why I'm breaking this down, to let everybody know that it can be high. And so that brings us to 965 pounds of feed in a month. And if you add that up for a year, that's 11,556 pounds for a year. Y'all, that's crazy to me. That's crazy that we go through that much. I didn't realize that it was that much. This is the craziest part to me. It's not the money. It's the amount of pounds that we go through. And so I'm doing this to encourage people. I'm not trying to discourage you. But if you're wanting to start a farm or a homestead, this is something that you need to think about. You need to do your best to try to add up what your average cost is going to be for this lifestyle. I encourage my homesteaders now and my farmers to go ahead and add it up and see what your cost is, what you're spending a month, what you're spending a year. This has really been eye-opening to me and my husband as well, to just see how much we spend and how much we go through. I just want, like I said, this to be an encouragement. 11,556 pounds is what we go through in a year, guys. A year. And that's not including the amount we would go through for extra animals, for extra rabbits or extra goats. That's just for our bare minimum, 6 rabbits, 6 goats, and around 100 chickens is what it is. And so, like I said, I just want to encourage you to just check into it, see what your cost is. Just give yourself a hand and help yourself out to figure this out. It's not hard to go through this. I mean, it took me a while, I guess maybe an hour altogether, or an hour and a half to figure all this out, but it's worth it. It's worth seeing where your money's going. I know a lot of people budget for their home, but maybe a lot of people don't budget for their homestead or their farming lifestyle. But y'all, I thank you all for watching. I thank you all for hanging out. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was encouraging. I hope that you can maybe see your farm cost in a different light. But I appreciate you all hanging out, and I hope to see you on the next one. We'll see you later, guys. Bye.